Welcome back to Good Morning La La Land. We are live in Los Angeles and we have still got the Oscar buzz. We've invited Robin Radin to the show. She's an Emmy Award-winning producer who can talk behind the scenes in the real version.
A little bit, yeah, absolutely.
Of the Oscars.
Think about how many movies were nominated that no one in America has seen unless you live in New York or Los Angeles. These movies were only released in December so that they could be eligible for an Oscar. Who outside of New York or LA has heard of The Favorite? Or the Melissa McCarthy movie? People must have been like, what is she even doing there? And then she's covered in a mink jacket, covered in rabbits. No one knew. Hello, that's from the movie The Favorite, with a U, by the way. So, you know.
Very British. Yeah.
Or Canadian. But the point being, most of America has not seen these movies, has not heard of these movies yet. And so it's completely unrelatable. So that's why I say thank God for Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper for giving us that moment that people could at least have something to talk about besides Melissa McCarthy with a hand puppet. I mean, when Tina Fey came
Why don't you
out,
tell us what you did like about it? It's all about positivity.
I'm trying to think if well, that was the moment. And Bette Midler coming out to sing because Emily Blunt was too afraid to sing in front of such a large live audience.
Is that really what happened?
Well, I mean, Emily herself didn't tell me that, but that is, it's not really the speculation. It's sort of out there. But yes, and Bette Midler, I mean, that voice, that was an amazing moment. All of the performances. And that Lady Gaga is responsible for all of those performances taking place because she backed out of the Oscars when it was only going to be a couple of performances, and she wanted all of the Oscar-nominated songs to be a part of the show. So
how'd you feel about the no-host thing?
What's
your perspective on that?
It was really lacking. There was no sort of cohesive through line as a producer. There was nothing to sort of, keep it going, keep it moving, have a little bit of fun in the show. You need some fun moments.
They needed some Good Morning La La. 3 hosts would have been great.
Exactly. Touche. Or at least one.
Yeah. I have to say, though, there was a few speeches, and I don't know everyone's, I honestly just I can't consume all this stuff, but there was a few speeches by women, and I can't even tell you their names because I don't know everybody, but they were amazing and very empowering from a woman's standpoint.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This was definitely the year of the woman. It was definitely the year of the non-white male, we could say, right? There were a lot of moments that were just all about empowering women and minorities. And, it was wonderful to see those, but in the span of a 3-hour telecast, those moments just were a little bit too far, and there just weren't enough of them.
So America, the world gets a 3-hour telecast, but you've seen the behind the scenes, the making of the Oscars for over 20 years being in television.
Yes, I'm 111.
Well, you look 21, so you're good.
I'm a great makeup artist.
And, we watch hours of coverage on the red carpet and things like that, but what really happens behind the scenes from a producer's point of view?
Well, it's interesting because my background is all in the entertainment news shows. So I come from E! and Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood. So I'm not coming from a place of an Oscar producer, but as someone producing the show that's going to air the next night. And by the way, tonight's shows of Entertainment Tonight and Access Hollywood will be their #1 rated shows of the year because they will have all of the highlights and the best moments from last night, the things you didn't see. Did somebody trip? There's a whole story about Rami Malek and how he fell backstage and medics had to come and make sure he was okay. And then all the parties and what really happened at the parties. There was a photo I saw this morning of Lady Gaga laying in bed with Madonna. And, there was a controversy a few weeks ago about Beyonce throwing a party, but this is Madonna's night. And then there's Elton John, where are people going to go? So all of those sort of fun questions will be answered tonight in the best show of the year of those entertainment news shows. So we'll have half our team. I just left Access Hollywood a few months ago. So the last 4 years, I ran the news department there as a supervising producer. So I was in the control room during our red carpet. We would feed our red carpet coverage back in so that we could watch it. And I would sit with the show publicist and we would wait for a celebrity to break a story to us, okay, so that we could say, oh my gosh, that was an amazing moment. Let's put out a press release. And then we would blast it out and then hope that other outlets like yours might pick it up and say, look at this amazing moment on the red carpet with Access Hollywood's hosts and celebrities. And we, at that show, created so many moments. So
So I have a question for you, because what do you see is happening? What's the shift that you've seen this over years? Mm-hmm. What is the biggest shift as far as the messaging of the movies, the messaging that's happening? Do you see any shifts?
I definitely think, going back as far as Philadelphia, from over 20 years ago with Tom Hanks, that Hollywood is really plays such a big role in acceptance of, whatever it may be, whether it is HIV and AIDS, being disabled in some way. Thank God for Hollywood for being able to shed a light on things that otherwise there might not be a light shed on.
Very true.
And you are shedding the light. Shane's Inspiration Gala. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Shane's Inspiration is a fantastic nonprofit organization. It was started by Scott and Catherine Williams and Catherine's best friend, Tiffany Harris. And it's a foundation where they have been putting inclusive playgrounds all over the world and mostly in Los Angeles for 20 years.
And throwing incredible gala parties.
An amazing gala every year, which is where we raise the most of our funds. This year it's at the Beverly Hills Hotel. There are still tickets available. It's on March 29th at 6:30. There's this year's theme is the greatest playground reimagined. It's sort of a takeoff on The Greatest Showman. And there's a live auction and a silent auction, and there's unbelievable entertainment. And about 400 people come, and you get all dressed up, and it's just such a fantastic, fantastic party. I am a co-chair of the silent auction. So I call everyone I know in Hollywood and say, hey, can I get tickets to this? Hey, can I get tickets to this? And then I just sort of bring as much as I can to the live and silent auction so that we can raise a ton of money and build more playgrounds.
Oh, so why is this a cause that's so near and dear to your heart?
When I first heard the story, I just thought that it was, there's so many important causes out there. There's no question. But Scott and Catherine Williams, they lost their son after he was 10 days old to a very rare disease. And they thought, and his name was Shane, and they thought, what can we do to have Shane's name live on? And the idea was for them just to build a playground because if he had lived, he would have been severely disabled. And they said, what would we do? We would have to completely, redo our house to make it ADA compliant. Where would he play? What would he do? So they said, let's, build a playground in his name. And that just mushroomed into the organization it is now. And now they have an educational component where they actually go into schools and they're teaching the kids about inclusiveness and anti-bullying, because the kids don't really understand. They just see someone who's different and they say, what's wrong with him? Or why is he in a wheelchair? Or how come his legs don't work? They don't know. So they have this educational program that goes into the schools and teaches the kids about being inclusive and accepting, and how, just because this child is in a wheelchair, they are the exact same child and they want to go play too.
Don't you think it's interesting that, tonight on Extra, whatever, people will be watching all the clips and all the drama, whatever, when for me, the most fascinating thing is behind the scenes of Hollywood, all those amazing things that you're up to, that those things that are the nonprofits and the community things that people just don't even see that aspect of Hollywood.
It's so true. And it's funny because when I was executive producer at E! News, everyone thought, oh my gosh, the Oscars so glamorous. You get to go. You're so lucky. Yes. I was in a gown in what we call the truck farm, which is like off of Hollywood Boulevard, in a truck hunched over with like about 12 other people, because E! of course does the live from the red carpet. But you cannot attend the Oscars on the red carpet as a camera person, as a producer, as anything, if you are not dressed black tie, which means every man must be in a tux. If you're running camera, if you're audio, it doesn't matter. So, and because we knew we were going to be running back and forth to the carpet and back to the truck, we're all completely decked out, hunched over in like a trailer. It's really not glamorous at all.
It's practically impractical in all the best ways.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Robin, for being here, for sharing your time and your light with us in Hollywood and across the world. Tell everyone where they can find and follow your personal journey.
So my Instagram is at Robin Radin, and that's also my website, robinradin.com. And I'm on Twitter at Pop News Girl, but I feel like people are more.
Thank you for all your work.
True.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Stay tuned. We'll be back with more on Good Morning La La Land.